Hello, everyone, and welcome to Vinsyn with Interviews. I'm here with Vernon Williams Jr. rerunning for District 16. And I was out here tripping a couple of days ago when I announced, after you agreed to do this interview, I announced District 6 because I was tired. I was just got my vaccine shot. I was all over the place. I was all over the place. I don't know what I saw. I read it, posted it to my Facebook, and then I went on my show. It said 6, and it was 16. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome, brother.
So for those out here who don't know, please explain to us exactly what your job is as a legislator. What do you do as a legislator?
So, again, thank you for having me on the show. I'm the county legislator for the 16th district. We do the everything that has to do with the county services on the county level and the county budget. That is huge. That's social services, that's the health department, that's transportation. We mainly oversee the county's budget. And also on the side, we pass amendments and we pass resolutions that better protect the citizens in our entire county. So when folks ask me all the time, they say, hey, what is your actual position? I said, any services you get from the county, I'm who the person you need to be contacted. Not so much the city. That means, like I said, social services, health department, transportation. That is all county services, and that's what we're over.
All right. So when it comes to being a legislator, because me and you, we know pretty much the same people. Your mom, I forget her thing, but your mom was part of the union. It's still a part of it, right?
Yep.
Still part of it.
So, and I'm a part.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm a part of the union too. And Derek Carr has been grooming me to run.
You should.
So, and I am. Is that right now? I was taking the classes. I was going to do the school board.
Okay.
Or city council, but I was leaning more towards school board because I'm heavy into education. And I feel like education is one of the key things needed to help stop not only systemic racism, but to help stop the continuation of racism. Because the more you know, the better you do. So,
absolutely.
So last time you were first time you're running. So
yep.
Tell me about your campaign now. So what are your plans and promises now that you plan to do?
So I am running for re-election. So my campaign is the same thing as, kind of what we did the first time around, promising the change that we seek. Since I got elected in a year and a half, we've been able to sponsor and pass 2 resolutions on my own, which is kind of never heard of for a freshman legislator. Plus, we're in the minority. We don't control the majority on the county as far as legislative. Republicans outnumber us, but we passed a effective live streaming, which I thought was pretty important because it makes the county more transparent and more accountable to the people, which it wasn't. So people can look in on Zooms and see how your county legislators are doing, see how we're voting, see what we're talking about, see the process and how that was. I thought that was very important.
And that is important.
And we also passed, when the George Floyd incident, unfortunately, happened and the uprising with, racism and police brutality, I felt there was a need for the county to take a stand and say where we stand at. So, I went to my colleagues and say, hey, you don't get a pass to sit down in this. Where do you stand when it comes to police brutality? Where do you stand when it comes to systematic racism? I need this on the record and on the books. And I challenged my colleagues. And just to give people, your viewers a picture, there's only 2 minorities that sits on the county ledge out of 17 legislators. The rest are Caucasian. So that gives you a perspective of where the county is and where the representation is. But I talked to, my counterparts, talked to my colleagues in the Democratic Party, and therefore, and it passed unanimously. And I thought that was very important to make a stand as a county to send to minorities, especially African Americans, like, hey, we stand with you. We condone police brutality. We condone systematic racism. Not only we condone it, how do we work to fix it? How do we work to shape it? And like I told folks, it's not going to be an overnight process. It may not happen in my lifetime, but we have to start somewhere, and meaningful starts. And I think that's the key. I think when I talk to folks, I said, I'm tired of talking about it. What are we going to actually do about it? You know, we can have as many forums and as many conversations, but the folks in office are the ones changing the laws or writing the laws, right? So I think that, you know, that was important for me to as a nugget. It's not everything I wanted, but it's a start. And this time of campaign, we're going to continue what we've been doing. We're going to continue reaching out to constituents. We're going to continue to build a cohesive, my main thing is to get people to understand and educate people, like you said, education on how county politics work and how politics affect their everyday life. I think some people take it for granted. You know, they look at the president and they vote for the presidency. They vote for, their congresswoman or congressman or senator. But honestly, the mayor, the county legislator, the county executive, city hall, they affect you more than the president does. They affect your everyday life because you live in this city. And I think sometimes we take the local politics for granted and getting people educated. Because if you drove out the numbers that we do in presidential races, we will have more folks that look like us sitting in seats.
You're absolutely right. I've been saying it for a long time, and you said it too. Yeah, local elections matter, and I've been saying it on my show, and I've been telling people in person, local elections matter. They think that it doesn't matter. They think the president does everything, and you're right. Local elections is where you are most affected.
Yes, absolutely.
Everyday life.
Everyday life. And I think that just getting folks to understand that. And I think once we get folks to understand it, we'll see a shift. Folks will get more active because, like I told you, the voters are there. You see the numbers during the presidential election, so the voters are there. They just don't. We just need to connect them with locally and how that affects them.
And I think, me personally, I just feel like as a Democrat, I feel like Democrats don't. Not all of them, but a good majority of them don't. They wait till it's voting season.
Last minute.
Yeah, they wait till like literally probably like excuse me, 4 or 6 months before, election day to campaign. You should be putting out your information of what you're doing every day. Every day you pass something, call into a radio show. Like if you're about, having Black people vote for you, call into these Black radio shows. You're here on my show. My show's predominantly, Black, and it's on a Black network. And we're out here trying to get the message out because it's important that people get the message.
It's very important. And I told somebody, they said, Vernon, you haven't stopped campaigning. I said, no, because my job is to make sure you're informed. Because I'm not sitting up there representing myself. I'm sitting there representing 16,000 people that sit in my district. That's who I represent. So it's important for you guys to understand what I do on an everyday basis. How I'm affecting, what am I voting on? How I'm affecting your everyday life. I think sometimes, like you said, we put folks in office when we do, and we give them a pass and we forget what they do. And then they only come around when it's election season. But it's like, do you forget who you work for? You don't work for yourself, you work for your constituents. So you should always have that camaraderie and that connection with your constituents of your district, no matter what. Because then when it's time to campaign it, it's a slam, like they know who you are.
And I always want to know this about legislators. Mm-hmm. Do you still work your regular job and go do your legislative work too? Or do you work?
Absolutely. I'm a store manager at Burlington in Utica, and I have a full-time job. This is a part-time job. So by any means, can you not have a steady job and still do this?
It's so crazy because, like, me as a chef, I want to transition into politics or something in the political realm, but it's hard to be in the culinary world and do politics. I don't know if anybody ever did it because the hours of being, in the culinary world range so much, and there's so much demand that, like, even when I was just like before I got the position I'm at now, when Derek Carr was like, "Oh, I want you," I was like, "Man, I can't, I can't do any of that." I was like, "I want to." I was like, "I can't. I could barely even do my shows regularly because I was working so much." So I have another question for you. So with the new administration in, what do you hope to see from this current administration that you didn't see from the previous administration?
You mean the presidential election?
Yeah, no, this administration I said now, Biden's administration. What do you hope to see?
Honestly, I expect more from this administration than the last. I expect more with helping the cities, states, and cities during this COVID time. You know, the last administration refused to give aid to the states and the cities. They wanted to play politics. And I think it's important, and it's not so much of a bailout; it's a help, because cities and counties and municipalities went almost bankrupt and in debt trying to fund the COVID relief. It would hit us all it hit everybody was shocked. So everybody's budget took a major hit.
Yeah.
But I think with this, with the Biden and Harris administration, I think we will start to see some relief from the federal government, which will help us, because at the end of the day, I tell people during budget season, if you don't have the funds, the first thing to get cut is services. People get furloughed and laid off because there's no money coming in. There's the revenue we didn't expect, we don't have. So I think that I'm kind of happy and glad on that. And I think we see some where we can, bring workers back to work, that we can bump up some services. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about the workers, unionized workers. I think Biden is union friendly. He showed when he fired the NLRB head guy. I thought that was a great move because he was just anti-union. I don't how you can be over NLRB and you're just anti-union. So I think that with this administration, it will be worker friendly, state friendly, and I think we will. We can actually get back to being Americans who we are. So I don't want to put too much pressure on their administration, but I'm excited about the administration.
Well, I feel like we got to put pressure on the administration because when you don't put pressure on them is when stuff goes awry. And when
that's true.
When we don't hold the people that we voted in accountable for the stuff that they do, then we're not going to get what we deserve as people.
Absolutely.
Not even what we want, what we deserve as
what
Americans.
We deserve to have, right.
So speaking of what we deserve, is it one thing I've learned about COVID season, this whole, because we're in season 2 now of COVID.
Yeah, we're in season 2, brother.
I've noticed that more stores now are not mandating people to wear masks. And on top of vaccines now being short because of the last administration. So is it up to the legislators or the federal government to make the mask wearing a mandate here in Syracuse?
And so in Syracuse, I think Biden already made a federal mandate on federal property. So if you're on federal property, you have to wear a mask. I think the state has to come in and make that mandate. We can't give the mask mandate. We can't enforce it, but the state can, the governor can pass the law, and then we can enforce it. So I think it's very important to mandate people, no matter where they are, to be wearing a mask, right? And I think that the issue is not the mandate. The issue is enforcing the mandate. Because you have a lot of police agencies, you have a lot of sheriffs that are saying, I'm not going to enforce it. Even retailers that say I'm not going to enforce it. So we can have a mandate, but the problem ain't the mandate. The problem is enforcing the mandate.
Well, I think also too. All right, if you're not going to enforce it, I feel like common sense should kick in. Because I work at Krause, and you cannot work in that building without a mask on. Absolutely. Even if you take it down and have a drink and you leave it down too long, someone's telling you got to put that mask on, or you're going to get a write-up or terminated for not wearing your mask properly. So when I go into, like I said it on my show earlier, I went into Kenny's Drugs, and they don't enforce it out. They let them walk in without a mask on. But it's the store itself, because they won't let me in if I'm not wearing shoes and a shirt.
Right.
But they will let me in if I'm not wearing a mask, even though they know that there's a deadly virus going around. And they don't know if I have the vaccine or not, or if I got the virus or not.
And it mind boggles me. And I said, I frequent a lot of stores. And I said, we need to, I don't know how we put pressure on these retailers and these stores and these businesses to enforce the mask mandate. It's that important. Whether the governor comes back and say, hey, if, we pop up, the health department pops up and we see you not enforcing the mask mandate, we'll fine you X amount of dollars. We keep coming back and eventually we'll close you down again. I think it has to be that serious for folks to understand and get it, because, some businesses and owners have a different perspective than me and you. They have a different ideology than me and you. their politics are different. So some of them don't care about the mask. They have that, ideology. But I think that, we have to enforce it by sending the health department out, checking up on these businesses. And when we do, we have to enforce it. Whether it's fines, whether it's, closing your business for a week or 10 days, they have to feel the brunt. Because at the end of the day, this is people's lives at stake. You might, like I told someone, you might not take it serious. You might not care about your health, but care about someone else's health.
Exactly. And
you may not care if you get sick, but be care that your grandmother or your mother don't get sick. And it's funny because these folks who think it's, a joke and then catch it, now it's not a joke anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's
1,000% right. You're 1,000% correct. I feel like it's on par with me being culinary arts. You have to wash your hands a lot. Right. Being a chef, you have to wash your hands. You have to wear gloves. There's just certain rules you have to follow when working in the food industry, and that should be one of the rules, that you have to wear a mask. I understand. I understand people have this theory, these crazy theories that you breathe it in your own CO2 and it's supposed to do something with your blood.
Don't get it, man.
I don't know. I told them, show me the facts. They can't show me the facts. Right. I was like, if you ain't got facts, you can't just make up your own story. So,
but it goes back to what you said, brother. You said a little while ago, you said it. You have to wear shoes and shirt inside of stores, and they enforce that. Mm-hmm. So then you're telling, so basically you enforce what you want to enforce.
Exactly. They do.
So I think that they can enforce it if they want to, but they pick and choose, because there's so much controversy around the mask. So they don't want to enforce, they want to lose customers. I said, but you're going to lose a bigger amount of customers that don't want to shop in there because folks are not wearing a mask. It's a safety issue. So, and I told, speaking that I'm a store manager, I told someone, I said, listen, if you can't wear masks, then, don't come in my store. As simple as that. Like, this is nothing new. You know the rules. So if you don't want to follow the rules, then stay home.
Yeah, yep.
I'm just going to be blunt. Like, why come out and give me the headache? Just stay home. Do us all a favor and stay home.
Order online.
Right. You don't have to worry about that. Just stay home.
What's crazy is, this is a little side thing. What's crazy is Jill Gross met you. Do you remember Jill Gross?
Yes.
Yeah. She's my mom, like my second mom. And she was telling me, she was like, have you ever heard? Because I was telling her I was running, and she was like, you ever heard of Vernon Williams? I was like, yeah, I know Vernon Williams. And she was saying, yeah, I worked together and stuff. So like, it's a small world. Like, it's
a small world, man. Small world.
So I'm glad you're running again. I'm glad the work that you're putting in. And I look forward. I mean, I'm actually moving. I just bought a house.
Congratulations.
Thank you. They just signed the papers today. So like, I don't even know what district it's in yet. It's zip code is 1306.
1306. I can find out for you.
Yeah, I gotta find out what district it's in. But I would definitely vote for you. I like the work that you do. And what's on the horizon after legislation? What's
Listen,
in the future?
I get that asked frequently. That's what I would tell you. Like I tell everybody, listen, I'm gonna focus on the county lead seat first.
Yeah.
And then we'll see where the chips fall. But I love politics. I love politics. I don't even call it politics. I love being elected official. I love helping people. And that comes from my union background. I love helping people. Especially folks, the minority folks that typically don't get anywhere with government, don't typically get anywhere with, that type of process. I love helping people and educating people, because the more, like you said before, education is key. Though, you know what you know, and you know what you don't know, right? Mm-hmm. And you know what you do. So it's like to educate them and say, hey, here's how this is supposed to be. Like, people say, well, how do you do this? I said, listen, to run for office, you gotta have compassion for people. You gotta want to help people. You genuinely gotta want to help people. Because if you don't, you're in the wrong field. Like, it's not gonna work out for you. Like, it comes easy to me. People always tell me, Vern, this comes so easy to you. I said, because I've worked for 1199 for 8 years. So I have that instilled in me, that helping people do good for themselves. And that's the way I see government. And I tell people, it's not that people want government to hand them everything, but they want it to be fair. They want government to relieve the red tape and release the shackles, as I may say, and have it the path more fair and more aligned. I said, dude, that's where y'all get it twisted. We're not asking to give you everything free. But what we're asking is an opportunity that the rest of everybody else have, that we don't currently have. That's what we're asking.
That's good. You're right. You're right. Man, thank you so much for doing this. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're in District 16, make sure you vote for this brother, because there's going to be a lot of great things coming out. I knew you was great when I met you the first time. I told you, I was like, yo, man, you're going to be a shining star, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you guys so much for watching.